Gee, I wonder what way I'm going to start off this Star Wars video.
Hello there.
Yeah, that'll do it. So, we are a few weeks out from The Mandalorian Season 3 releasing on Disney+. That's going to be fun time. Everyone's looking forward to it. Pedro Pascal being a dad again. And I had a video idea last year that I didn't make at the time, so I'm repurposing that idea right now. So, last year I was on a Star Wars kick. I had watched Kenobi, I watched The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, which I hadn't watched before, all good stuff. And I watched The Rise of Skywalker for the first time, 3 years on from when the movie released. And whoo boy, the pace of that movie would break your neck. Nothing makes sense, everything is just go, 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 nothing works whatsoever. But watching the animated stuff made me think about how the prequels were fleshed out so much, and especially that space in between episodes 3 and 4. I mean, there's so much content in there now. But particularly the Clone Wars, and how the Clone Wars kind of retroactively makes Star Wars episodes 2 and 3 a bit better. They connect a little better. So there's been obviously a groundswell of people saying that, the prequels were good, or some people are saying they were always good. Not so sure about that. And with all of that coming into fruition and adding to the overall lore of Star Wars, it's kind of made people look upon the prequels more favorably, which is good. There's some interesting stuff in there. There's definitely a lot of ideas, but it makes them a little more digestible and adds a lot more to what happens, particularly to Anakin and Obi-Wan between episodes 2 and 3. With all of that being said, I think that a couple of years from now, I don't know, could be 5 years, could be 25 years, people are going to look a lot more favorably upon the sequel Star Wars movies. Like, there is one animated series based around that time, which mostly goes into Resistance stuff. I think it's more so geared towards kids, which is fine. But thinking about how they've fleshed out a lot of the prequel timeline and a lot of the original Star Wars trilogy through comics and all that, it's only a matter of time before it happens for the sequels. And as well as that, it's Disney. They can just hire people to write good material, to retcon a bunch of stuff. They can make unlimited number of TV shows and holiday specials and comic books. There's already a lot of comics out there. I believe there's one that focuses on Luke and Kylo Ren working together. There's a comic for Poe Dameron's background, Captain Phasma. I think there's a Kylo Ren series. And even, I think it's in a recent Darth Vader comic. They're like trying to retcon in that Exegol, the planet from the end of Rise of Skywalker, was always part of the Emperor's plan. And I'm betting we're going to see a lot more retcon-y stuff like that going forward. The effort that they have gone to flesh out the story between episodes 2 and 3, from Ahsoka's story across 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, what happens just after episode 3 in both Rebels and the Bad Batch, and then Tales of the Jedi, which fleshes out a bit before like even episode 1. There's a lot of stuff there, and the sequels haven't had anything near that amount of effort put in as of yet. And there definitely will be like retcons and like changes to the timeline to be like, oh, actually in between episodes 8 and 9 all of this happened. Rey went on crazy adventures and loads of things, lots of stuff. And as well as that, in the next number of years, there are going to be people, whether it's actors or writers or directors, who will have grown up with episodes 7, 8, and 9, and they will love those movies, as I think a lot of people grew up with the original trilogy, as a lot of people grew up with the prequel trilogy. Same thing is going to happen in like 10, 15 years time. They're going to have love for those characters. They're going to get into work at Disney or at Lucasfilm, and they're going to want to extend that, whether it's through whatever, a movie, TV show, comic book, novel, whatever. They're going to want to work on it to flesh out those characters that they grew up with, that they love. It's clear from the way that Disney have worked with Star Wars that they're well aware that every character in the universe has a name, and that any character can just be made up in that universe anyway. It's not like there's a limited roster of characters like there kind of is with Marvel in a way. They're absolutely just gonna push like as much interconnectivity and as many new series and just anything they can do, they will do it. They're absolutely going to start moving into that sequel trilogy time. It's still like 20 years of a gap there. Like, it's a decent gap, but so is the gap between the prequels and the sequels. I'm hoping that they can do a good job of fleshing it out and making the rewatches of 7, 8, and 9 more valuable, because at the moment I personally don't like the sequel trilogy, but it's only a matter of time. I think in a couple of years they'll probably bring back Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and other sets of the characters to flesh them out, maybe in a series. I mean, they've done the same thing with Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan Kenobi. A lot of Star Wars stuff is never appreciated when it initially comes out, and then a few years pass and people kind of go, yeah, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And I think that, yeah, that's absolutely going to start happening with the sequel trilogy, especially once they start developing more content around that trilogy. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure they're going to flesh out in various media, and that in a couple of years people are going to be like, yeah, no, they're good movies. Yeah, I always thought they were good. Yeah, I thought they were good from the start. I'm a true Star Wars fan. But also I'm going to get annoyed by like the smallest thing of the newest series. I'm pretty confident in saying that people are going to start looking back on them more fondly once more good content, I should establish that, comes out based around the sequels. It's only a matter of time. This microphone is so dusty and it is making me sneeze.